A moment maybe at 2 a.m., maybe at a red light, maybe in a room full of people who smile but never see you. Something inside you gives way, softly. You look around, and suddenly it all feels artificial. The laughter, the striving, the constant act of being fine. Quietly, questions begin to surface, the kind you never dare to speak aloud. What's the point of all this? Why does life feel like a game rigged by people who don't care who loses? Why does it seem that the harder you reach for meaning, the further it slips away? You scroll past another voice preaching positivity, telling you to manifest harder, to hustle, to have faith in the universe. But what if the universe stopped answering? What if the only thing that's growing inside you is exhaustion, not fatigue, but something heavier, soul deep? You want to scream, disappear, or simply stop, not out of weakness, not from apathy, but because you're worn down from carrying what no one else can see. You're exhausted from faking strength when you feel empty, from being told to keep going while quietly unraveling inside. You're not losing your mind for feeling this way. You're not broken, you're waking up. Waking up to the sickness of a world that glorifies disconnection, a culture that teaches you how to function but never how to feel. And when your soul realizes it can't breathe in that system, it begins to break from within. That breaking isn't failure. It's the threshold before transformation. But most people don't reach it quietly. They reach it screaming, "I'm done. I can't do this anymore." And that sentence, it isn't always a death wish. Sometimes, it's the first true thing you've spoken in years. It's defiance. It's a boundary. It's the moment the mask finally cracks. You're not okay, and it's the pretending that's been slowly killing you. So maybe, just maybe, quitting isn't surrender. Maybe it's release. Not from life itself, but from this distorted version of it. The one where you abandon yourself daily just to stay accepted. The one where you shapeshift to fit in and forget who you are. What if quitting is holy? Quitting the noise, the performance, the endless proving. Quitting the hunger to be seen as worthy, polished, perfect. Quitting the race you never agreed to run. The name you didn't choose. The story written for you before you ever had a voice. What if what you call breaking down is really your soul breaking free from the lie? Look deeper. Beneath the rage, beneath the exhaustion, there's grief. Grief for all the years you lived by someone else's map. Grief for the parts of yourself you buried just to belong. Grief for the laughter you postponed. The truth you silenced. The beauty you never created. The pain you never named. You didn't fail. You survived. And now, you're beginning to awaken, and waking in a fractured world hurts. But don't mistake that pain for defeat. Don't confuse your disgust with despair. Don't let the raw ache in your chest convince you that you're broken, because this ache is sacred. It's the moment the illusion starts to crumble, the masks, the roles, the lies, and what remains, trembling but real, is the truth. And yes, truth burns, but that same fire also purifies. Maybe you were never meant to bloom in this world as it is. Maybe you were meant to see through it, to stand in the ashes of your own undoing and come out real. There's a strange kind of power in breaking. There's integrity in falling apart. There's beauty in choosing yourself when the world refuses to. So don't rush to bury the feeling. Don't escape it. Sit with it. Listen. Ask it. What have you been trying to show me that I've been too scared to face? Maybe it's the part of you that longs for rest. Not from apathy, but from unseen wars. Maybe it's the part that's furious not from hate, but from years of boundaryless survival. Maybe it's the child within you whispering, "Stop pretending. This hurts." If you feel the urge to quit, don't turn away from it. Lean in. Because that impulse isn't always about ending. It's often the soul begging for transformation. Not death, but renewal. And no one ever speaks about this part. Everyone glorifies the rebirth, but they skip the night before, the trembling, the unraveling, the silent collapse on the floor where you whisper to yourself, "I can't do this anymore." But here's the truth. That quiet voice inside you, it isn't weakness. It's honesty. And it's the first step back to yourself. Maybe you weren't born to fit into this world. Maybe you were meant to uncover it, to reject the surface, to burn down what was never real to begin with. Maybe you're here to feel everything others numb themselves to avoid, to ache deeply, to love without armor, to fall apart with grace. Because only those who shatter truly understand what it means to be whole. You were told that strength meant holding it together, but real strength is honesty, the willingness to stay tender in a world that fears feeling. Maybe you've swallowed pain for so long you started mistaking it for peace. peace. This world prizes appearances, but your spirit is weary of acting. And maybe that's why you reached your breaking point. Because the person you became, the one who endured, complied, smiled through the ache, wasn't your essence. It was armor, not identity. And sometimes, the only way to find yourself is to let everything you built to survive collapse. So if it feels like you're falling apart, don't stop. That's the shedding. Keep breaking. Tear down the rules that were never yours. Shatter the walls you mistook for safety. Leave behind the rooms where you had to shrink just to belong. You don't owe the world the act of being fine. You were never meant to be a performance. You were meant to be real. And being real comes with a price. It takes away your comfort, your illusions, the false friendships, the hollow victories, the practiced smiles. But what it gives back is priceless you, not the censored self, not the carefully curated image, but the raw, unguarded soul beneath it all. The part of you that still knows how to feel deeply, to rest without guilt, to set boundaries, to stop running, to exist quietly without needing to prove a thing. You see, it was never you who was flawed. It was the story you were fed, the one that said your worth was measured by how much you do, that your value depended on your output, that your feelings made you difficult, that your tenderness made you fragile, that your hurt meant you were damaged. None of it was true. They lied. Your pain isn't a flaw. It's evidence that you're still alive, still feeling, still carrying a spark that refuses to die, even if it only flickers in the dark. So no. Don't quit life. Quit the version of life that's been draining you dry. Quit the grind that stole your joy. Quit the masks that made you forget your own reflection. Quit the quiet that buried your voice. Quit shrinking yourself just to be accepted. Quit everything that demands you abandon your soul to be worthy. And when you finally let go, what follows won't be simple, but it will be yours. You'll rebuild slowly, without a plan, without perfection, just one honest choice at a time. You'll learn to rest and not feel guilty, to say, I don't know, and not flinch, to sit with your sadness instead of rushing to escape it. You'll start finding joy in quiet, unshareable moments. You'll cry and let it be sacred. You'll say no and stand by it. And one day, when you meet your reflection, you won't see someone broken anymore. You'll see someone becoming. That's what this path really is, not a climb, not a triumph, but a descent into the depths of your own shadow. And from there, a slow, sacred return. Carl Jung once said, only the paradox comes anywhere near to comprehending the fullness of life. You are that paradox, breaking and mending, falling and awakening, surrendering and becoming all at once. Because the moment you whispered, I can't do this anymore, was the moment your real life quietly began. That was the breaking point, not into failure, but into truth. This was never about being fixed. It's about being free to feel what you've buried, free to evolve, free to release the masks and the noise, free to create something honest from the wreckage. So no, don't walk away from transformation. Let the old self fall away. Let the mask turn to ash. Let others misread you, label you, call you broken, because only those who've truly shattered understand the art of rebuilding piece by piece, without pretending, without disguise, without fear. You're not weak, you're awake. And yes, the world will keep trying to lull you back to sleep. But each time you remember who you are, each time you choose truth over validation, each time you face the dark and still choose to remain, you take back a piece of your soul. This isn't the end. This is the raw, unpolished, unguarded beginning. And from here, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be real.